Hey everyone, we are live here with the Teach Better team for our monthly quick tip. Now, for those of you that have been paying attention the last few months, we have had this live stream as a special bonus live throughout the month to give you about 15 minutes of a quick strategy, a quick tip that you could try in your classroom. This live stream is brought to you by an incredible grant program called Remote edX, which is servicing over 16 ESCs in the state of Ohio. It has made it possible for us to work with those ESCs and service the districts that they support. And I can't believe that these 16 ESCs came together to write this incredible grant. We send them a monthly newsletter that they've been getting for the last few months. And every single month, we love to include a quick tip. Now, typically, we could just send this over straight to them, but we want to make sure our whole network has access to the information. Today, we are focusing on 3 strategies to improve your goal setting and reflecting with students. So if you have questions, feel free to participate live. We are currently streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn with the Teach Better team. But if you're catching this after the fact, we hope that you have some fun being able to think through a few strategies to improve your craft. We'll be right back. Hey everyone, my name is Ray Hughart. I'm currently serving as the CXO and co-owner of the Teach Better team, and I'm so thrilled to be back with our monthly quick tips series. We're excited to kick off the new year, so happy 2023. If you are catching this video for the first time and aren't familiar with this series, feel free to head over to the Teach Better team on YouTube. There's a full playlist with all the months we've done so far, and I'm excited for you to see these quick little strategies. We started this in October as a way to support the Remote edX grant, where 16 ESCs came together to support their school districts. And now I'm so excited that this is going to continue as a norm for 2023, where the Teach Better team can come live for a few minutes every single month and give you some quick tips. Now, during our lives, our hope is that you connect with a lot of Teach Better content, but this specifically is going to deal with students' goal setting and reflecting. Now, I love this topic, and I hope you do too. Feel free to share your excitement in the comments or any questions you have specific to this topic. When I was getting my master's degree and working on my thesis, I ended up actually studying and researching this topic specifically. So when this was brought as an idea for January, I was so excited to jump on board. I love student goal setting and reflecting, but personally really struggled with it. As a former middle school math teacher, I also was teaching science at the time in ELA, and I was finding that I knew reflection and goal setting was important. I knew it was an essential pillar that was data supported, research proven to support our students, but I never knew how to do it. And in my first few years teaching, I tried. I made up random times that students were going to goal set. I would create really cute worksheets that they would fill out. And I always felt like it ended up being a waste of time. And while I was doing it to check a box because I knew that good teachers had goal setting and reflecting in their classroom, it never really served me in any way. So after a few years, I dropped it. Why would I waste my time? I have so many other things to support my students with. Now, for a lot of you, you probably have already found some way to have your students goal set and reflect because you use the grid method or other types of instructional strategies that we love to train on. We really know that goal setting reflecting is essential. So if you're a grid method user or you use the Teach Further model, we've already shown you some strategies on how to incorporate this incredible opportunity for students. But the main purpose, if you're not using those strategies or if you seem to be struggling with this, is to understand that goal setting and reflecting is only valuable if you're giving students the choice and voice in areas that allow them to goal set and reflect. So for example, my first year teaching, I would have students goal set and reflect on a weekly basis, but I was having them goal set and reflect content goals. Well, the struggle with content goals at the time is that I was dictating the content pacing. I was even dictating the content. So what goals were they setting? What I found is if I had students goal set and reflect maybe on things they had control over, like their ability to work on their perseverance or characteristics that they wanted to see within themselves. Goal setting and reflecting maybe would have worked more effectively. But you can't have students get set goals on things that you're not giving them the power to have a voice or choice in. So for today, the assumption is that maybe you've tried goal setting and reflecting. Maybe you even know that it's really valuable. I want to give you 3 strategies to consider to improve your goal setting and reflecting. Now, it's January, so you either just welcomed in a brand new batch of kiddos, or you are in a year-long class, and so you're continuing this semester with the same student group you had last year. Regardless, this can be something that you implement at any time. So feel free to pick up this video now or bookmark it for later and use it in the future. It's no big deal. I think this is constantly something that we can improve on. The first thing that I wanted to throw into your mind as a possible way to enhance your goal setting and reflecting is to consider the medium in which students are goal setting and reflecting. For those of you that have heard me talk on this before, I won't ramble on, but this is one of my favorite topics. I love discussing mediums. This was actually the topic of my research when I ended up doing my thesis. I explored if the medium in which we allowed students to do their goal setting and reflecting allowed them to be more successful and more efficient and effective in their goal setting and reflecting. Spoiler alert, I found out it did. So here's what I want you to consider. You can do goal setting and reflecting through a lot of different modalities and mediums, things like paper, pencil, or using a Google Sheet. I've seen Google Forms as an opportunity. There's so many different ways that you can do it. I know Flipgrid's been used. Here's what I want you to consider. First and foremost, before we get into any of these mediums, the first thing to check with whatever modality you decide is it needs to be a two-way process, meaning that the students can't dump in their reflection and then not have access to that information later. The whole point of goal setting and reflecting is that you're able to set a goal, look back at that goal at some point in time, and then reflect on the goal. So if you only allow them to submit their goal, they're not getting that fluid process. Just something to consider. Now, with modalities, we found that by giving students the opportunity to choose their modality, they were more successful and more efficient in their goal setting and reflecting. So right now, if you're doing goal setting and reflecting on a piece of paper, there's a lot of different hurdles that can come with that, but not something that you can't overcome. The one thing that we found, though, is that some students found themselves resistant to going through the paper pencil process. Sometimes you run into the student that can't find a pencil, shocker, or the student that is just resistant because of the fact that it's a paper pencil assignment. It has nothing to do with the assignment themselves. They just don't want to write on paper. We've all had those kids. So something that you could consider is finding a medium where students actually have the choice anytime they need to goal set and reflect. I'm going to use an example, but this is not the only example. It's just one that I found success with. So I just want to throw it out there. A program like Seesaw, which is a website, and I've only used the free account, so I'm not even advocating for you to spend your money. A website like Seesaw allows a student to create a digital profile. And when they post, it kind of looks like Instagram where the student has a personal feed. You can set up the settings where they can only see their own, which is what I suggest for goal setting and reflecting because it should be private. And what I love about Seesaw is it allows the student to choose the way they want to reflect every single new post. So for example, the student could type a note to themselves, or a student could record a video, or they could do an audio recording, or they could take a picture of something, or they could link something. There's all these different options. And I love that fluidity because it allows a student to choose whatever's easiest for them at that point in time, which just eliminates a hurdle so that they can truly get into what you want the student to get into, which is the act of goal setting and reflecting. So regardless of what you decide, I would encourage you to just consider the mediums. I originally started out by having 2 mediums as an option. They could either type it on the computer or they could write it pen and paper. That's fine too, whatever you're most comfortable with, but consider the medium to allow yourself to enhance that goal setting and reflection strategy. The second one that I want to throw in is I just did a podcast interview earlier this week, and it will be out in February, I believe. It was with a podcaster that asked what strategy I would suggest to leadership would be. And we got into this really interesting conversation around trying to create connections between the tasks that we have assigned to our teachers. As many of us know, we all have to-do lists, and mine is literally right here. And it is an entire list of things that I need to get done. And some of them are going to help me in some ways, but some of them are really isolated things that I need to accomplish. And so when we were reflecting, talking about this concept, I was joking with them about trying to challenge our teachers to find ways where each thing we do serves us by being more successful in the next thing on our to-do list. That way we create systems and routines that work together. I don't know about you, but I never stress about having to brush my teeth in the morning. It's a part of my routine. So if we can find ways to create systems and routines for ourselves when we're lesson planning or supporting a student, it can allow us to have less stress. So my question to you when it comes to enhancing your goal setting and reflecting is, can your goal setting, can the act of student goal setting and reflecting also serve you by another goal that you maybe have in your classroom? An easy one would be, every teacher that I've talked to this week has told me that they have a goal to better communicate with parents and stakeholders. Me too. It's constant. We can always improve in that area. But is there a way, if we're going to have students either daily, weekly, or monthly goal set and reflect, that can automatically help our parents feel more updated in the classroom? An easy way to do this, I'm going back to my old example, is like Seesaw. Again, free account, not the only way to do it, but Seesaw allows your student to create a digital profile and link to your teacher and your parent. So every single time your student submits in Seesaw, the parent on their phone or via email gets a notification that that is been posted. What that allowed for me to do when my students were daily goal setting and reflecting is that parents were able to get a 3 to 5 minute video reflection or some sort of content reflection of their students' day in my class. We'll talk about great parent communication, because now when I reach out to those parents, maybe not on a weekly basis, maybe on a bi-weekly basis, maybe monthly, it was able to serve me because my parents were already aware of what my class was like through the lens of their child, and they felt like they heard from me frequently. So think about what goals you also are working on in addition to goal setting and reflecting, and see if there's a way that they can start working together versus working separately. Because I hate stressing about creating that silly end of the week newsletter on Thursday nights to send it out Friday morning. Can we have these systems work to help us so we can take it off our to-do list? Just something to consider. The last one that I want you to consider as we are exploring different strategies to improve our goal setting and reflecting has to do with the questions we ask our students. Now, if we want daily goal setting and reflecting to be a norm, or if we want weekly goal setting and reflecting to be a norm for our students, I really want to challenge you to be consistent with the questions you ask. And I also want to challenge you to limit them. When I was looking at the type of success we've seen with students goal setting and reflecting, you really see a vast difference when you have students reflect a lot with a lot of questions and a really small number. In my research early on, we were using an Excel spreadsheet, like a Google sheet, to document goal setting and reflecting. It was super cool because students would answer the questions around the top, and then the next day they'd do the next row. And what I loved about that is I was collecting an insane amount of data from my students, and they would do it every day. There was time allotted, so we were really, really intentional with it. But I was asking them like 12 different questions. And the reality is I didn't need 12 questions to try and get our students to think deeply. I really just wanted them to have some essential basics documented so we could be more successful the following day, more successful in our transition, more successful in our learning, all those things. So I would really like to encourage you to reflect on the questions you're asking students and really try to be consistent with them. Don't change them up every day, and be limited with them. Only ask the essential questions you need. For me, I think there's only 3 or 4. And I don't think you need any more than that, my personal opinion. My suggestion, if you're having students daily goal set and reflect, especially in a classroom like the grid method where students have autonomy over their pacing, I just have a few things I want to know from my students. I want to know, what did you do today? Like, give me the breakdown. I want one student to be like, I worked on a specific area the entire time and I felt really successful and I got a sign off at the end of the hour. While another student might say, actually, I conferenced with the teacher for 10 minutes and then I went back and moved forward and updated my tracking page. I want to know from them, like, tell me almost in a bulleted list, what'd you do today? Give me an overview. You had 30 minutes to work. How'd you fill it? The next thing is, how well did you understand the content you were working on? So are you feeling really confident? Are you not feeling so hot? And is it okay? So I would tell students, if you are at the end of the learning that you're working on, you hopefully feel really confident. If you just started a new section, it's okay to not feel confident. You're not at the end of it yet. So talking about how it feels was something really important to me. I wanted students to become familiar with their bodies. What does it feel like to feel confident in what you're learning? And what does it feel like to know that that confidence is appropriate, or that that lack of confidence is also appropriate? So what'd you work on today? How did you feel about the content you were learning? Really easy questions. The last one was, what's your goal for tomorrow or your next work session? I used to say tomorrow, and then I realized that there were students that worked at different times and maybe were taking home homework or at a study hall. So at the end, we just started saying next work session. The next time you work on this subject, what's your goal? And that allows students to easily transition. My goal of that question is simply so that the following work session, they would be able to look at their goal sheet and say, okay, where did I leave off? And what am I supposed to be working on? So that ease of transition, when I, in theory, could have 34 students doing 34 different things, allowed for us to easily transition and not spend 15 minutes wondering what we should be working on. So when we look at the 3 strategies for how to improve goal setting and reflecting, I told you I literally could talk on this forever. So if you have questions, I hope you reach out. I know this is supposed to be like a quick strategy, so I'm going to wrap it up here. We're at the 16-minute mark. But here are the 3 things, just again, so we can recap what we're working on. And I hope you feel free to reach out or ask me any questions if you have them. The first one with goal setting and reflecting is to consider your medium or modality. How are your students actually doing the goal setting? The second is there any way where goal setting and reflecting can serve you and other goals that you have as a teacher, like parent communication? And the third thing is, please consider the questions you're asking. You want it to be efficient, effective, and you don't want it to take the whole class to goal set and reflect. We're talking like 3 to 5 minutes at the end of class where you should be doing this. So how can we make it as efficient and effective by asking the smallest amount of questions and allowing our students just to blab on about how great they're doing? So as you get into this, I hope you feel free to reach out. Obviously, following the Teach Better team, heading over to teachbetter.com. There's a lot of resources there. But again, my name is Ray Hughart. My social media handle is on the screen. You're also welcome to email me at ray@teachbetter.com. You probably see me in your email already if you're on our email list. And if you're not on our email list, you should reach out to somebody and we'll get you logged on to that. I hope this was in any way, shape, or form helpful and you were able to think through how you might consider doing this in the future. And don't forget, if you find this useful, whether you're getting this in your email or just catching this on social media, I hope you share it with a friend or family member that this might serve in some way. So see you later, friends. Appreciate you.